In 1912, the world looked at a new ship with pride and excitement. Its name was Titanic. People called it the largest ship ever built. They said it was strong. They said it was modern. Some even said it was unsinkable. The Titanic was a symbol of human progress. It showed what engineering and technology could achieve. On April 10, 1912, the ship left England for New York. More than 2,200 people were on board. There were rich businessmen, famous personalities, workers, families, and children. Some were traveling in luxury. Some were leaving Europe forever, hoping to start a new life in America. For many passengers, this journey meant hope. The Titanic was like a floating palace. First-class passengers enjoyed beautiful rooms, fine food, and music. There was a grand staircase made of polished wood. There were dining halls with bright lights and elegant decorations. There was even a swimming pool and a gym. But not everyone lived the same way on the ship. Third-class passengers stayed deep inside the lower decks. Their rooms were small and simple. Many of them were immigrants. They had sold everything they owned to buy a ticket. They were not thinking about luxury. They were thinking about the future. As the Titanic sailed across the Atlantic Ocean, life on board seemed peaceful. People walked on the deck. Children played. Music filled the air. The sea was calm. The sky was clear. But far ahead of the ship, danger was waiting. Other ships had sent warning messages. They reported large icebergs in the area. The North Atlantic was known for floating ice during that season. These messages were received, but the Titanic continued at high speed. Many believed the ship was too strong to be in real danger. On the night of April 14, 1912, the temperature dropped. The ocean was unusually still. There were no waves breaking against ice. This made the icebergs harder to see. Just before midnight, a lookout stood high above the deck. He scanned the dark horizon. Suddenly he saw something directly ahead. A dark shape. An iceberg. He rang the warning bell. He called the bridge. "Iceberg, right ahead." The officers quickly gave commands. They tried to turn the ship. They tried to avoid the collision. But the Titanic was too large, too heavy, too fast. The ship struck the iceberg along its side. The impact did not feel violent. Many passengers barely noticed anything. Some felt only a small vibration. A few pieces of ice even fell onto the deck. At first, there was no panic. But below the surface, the iceberg had torn open several compartments of the ship. Water began to rush in. The Titanic was designed to survive damage in a few compartments, but not this many. Engineers soon understood the terrible truth. The ship would sink. It was only a matter of time. Still, the passengers were not fully informed. Some were told to put on life jackets, but they did not understand the danger. Lifeboats were uncovered and prepared. Then another problem became clear. There were not enough lifeboats for everyone. The Titanic carried lifeboats for about half the people on board. At that time, safety laws were outdated. They did not require enough lifeboats for such a large ship. As the ship slowly tilted forward, fear began to spread. The order was given women and children first. Families were separated in the cold night air. Husbands kissed their wives goodbye. Fathers lifted their children into lifeboats. Some men stepped back calmly. Some refused to believe the ship would really sink. Many lifeboats left half empty. People were still unsure. The Titanic looked strong. It did not seem like a ship that could disappear. But the angle of the deck became steeper. The cold grew sharper. The band continued to play music. They played to keep people calm. Water rose higher inside the ship. After about 2 hours and 40 minutes, the front of the Titanic was deep underwater. The back of the ship lifted into the air. Lights flickered. Then they went out. In the darkness, the great ship broke apart. It split into 2 sections. Then it disappeared beneath the surface of the ocean. More than 1,500 people were left in the freezing water. The temperature of the Atlantic Ocean that night was deadly. Within minutes, the cold caused shock. Voices cried out in the darkness. Then slowly, one by one, the voices faded. Lifeboats floated nearby, but many were afraid to return. They feared being pulled down by desperate hands. When the sun rose, the ocean was quiet. Only lifeboats remained. The Titanic was gone. The world was shocked when the news spread. How could the unsinkable ship sink? How could so many lives be lost? Investigations began in both Britain and America. It became clear that the tragedy was not caused by the iceberg alone. There had been warnings. There had been overconfidence. There had been a lack of preparation. After the disaster, international laws changed. Ships were required to carry enough lifeboats for all passengers. Better radio communication rules were introduced. Ice patrols were created to watch the North Atlantic. The Titanic changed sea travel forever. But beyond laws and rules, the story of Titanic teaches something deeper. It reminds us that pride can be dangerous. The belief that something cannot fail can lead to disaster. The Titanic was a masterpiece of its time. But it was not stronger than nature. Technology advanced, luxury impressed the world. Confidence filled the decks. Yet in one cold night, all of it disappeared. The dark story of Titanic is not only about a ship. It is about human belief. It is about hope and fear. It is about dreams that ended in the sea. Even today, more than 100 years later, people still talk about Titanic because it represents something powerful. It shows how quickly certainty can turn into tragedy. It reminds us to stay humble, to listen to warnings, to prepare for risk, and to remember that no creation, no matter how great, is beyond reality. The ocean is silent now, but the lesson remains.
Subscribe to our channel